So you have put a ton of time, effort, and resources into building your dream car audio system. So obviously we want to protect it from theft. How do we do that? I've got 10 different ways for you coming on up. Hey there, I'm Mark. Welcome to Car Audio Fabrication. Here on this channel, I do car audio product overviews, I do build log videos, and I also do lesson videos like this one. So if you enjoy this kind of thing, I'd love to have you as a subscriber. So let's get number one right out of the way early, because this is the most obvious one that you know I'm going to say: use an alarm. Obviously, if we have our vehicle protected with an alarm and somebody goes to open the door when it's armed, it's going to start blaring out, drawing attention to the vehicle, which is going to deter theft. But I do want to add something to this. Almost every vehicle comes with an alarm nowadays from the factory. Something you might want to consider though is there are better aftermarket options. You can get features like a two-way remote where the alarm actually communicates back to your remote and will let you know if something's going on with the vehicle. That way, if you're out of earshot of the actual alarm, you'll know if something's going on. There are alarms that will connect to your cell phone. So again, you have that connectivity even if you're super far from your car to know if something's going on. Tons of different options out there, so maybe check into getting an aftermarket alarm. So number one there, that was the most obvious one. Let's move on to number two, and my suggestion here is to turn down your system when you're getting close to places that you're going to park. Really, this is pretty much common sense, but if you're coming up on an area that you know your vehicle is going to be parked and you're not going to be there with your vehicle, turn the system down so you're not broadcasting to everyone, hey, I have valuable equipment in this vehicle. Now the next thing we can do here to deter theft of a system, and again, this goes along with not broadcasting that you have a system, and that's number three: don't use stickers. Stickers are awesome. You want to show off the gear that you have, but in my opinion, if it's a daily driven vehicle, I recommend leaving that for on the inside. You could incorporate it into a beauty panel to show off the different sponsors of a build or the different gear that you're using, but if you have a show car, in that case, I think it's okay to have stickers on the outside, because usually show cars, you know, they're in a very well-traveled area most of the day. You're going to be sitting with the car. In that case, I think it's okay. But do keep in mind, when you avoid stickers, you avoid letting people know that there's valuable equipment in the vehicle. Moving on, idea number four for avoiding theft, and that is to consider stealth mounting locations for your equipment. As an example, amplifiers, putting them in a car on like the rear deck where you can see them on display through the back window, probably not the best idea if you want to avoid theft. You could consider mounting them under the seats. You could consider mounting them in the trunk of the vehicle or behind a panel, as long as you have proper airflow. You should be considering this for all of the different gear within a system. So that goes for the speakers and the subwoofers as well. If you want to see a build that I recently did where I really focused on making everything as stealthy as possible, you can check out a link to those build videos up in the corner of the screen. Idea number five for deterring theft: roll up your windows and lock your doors. Again, I know it's obvious, but there's a lot of people that I feel like sometimes you just get lazy, you get complacent. It's like, it's gonna be fine. You know, it's my own house, it's my own driveway, nothing's ever happened. You leave the doors unlocked, and then that's when it happens. Take those few simple seconds to roll up those windows, unlock those doors. If it's not an easy target, sometimes a thief will just move along to something that is. Number six, use the OEM radio and retain it if you can for your system. To be completely honest, this is becoming more and more required for our vehicles nowadays with the climate controls and other features built into the factory head unit. But if we do have that option that we can still get good sound using a DSP or an integration device, it's sometimes a good idea to keep an OEM head unit, because it doesn't give it away to a potential thief that you have an aftermarket system. Now with that said, this is one of those things where you're going to have to weigh the positives and the negatives, because getting an aftermarket head unit a lot of times does lead to much better sound. Now maybe you're wondering, can I even install an aftermarket radio? What would fit? And for that, I want to take a quick second to thank monthly channel sponsor Crutchfield. Crutchfield's website has a vehicle selector tool that allows us to enter the year, make, and model of our car along with OEM radio information. And this allows their website to tell us exactly what will fit into the vehicle. With the Crutchfield website, we can easily narrow down by features and by price and by other categories and determine exactly which radio is perfect for us. But not only that, Crutchfield also gives us recommendations for exactly what gear we will need to install that radio into the vehicle. To see what fits your car and take advantage of a special offer for Car Audio Fabrication fans, visit the link down in the video description or on screen. Moving on, idea number 7 for deterring theft: consider where you are parking. There are two things that I think are important when you're selecting a parking spot. If it's something during the day or even if it's at night, you want to consider parking somewhere that is frequently traveled. If there's a lot of cars going by, if there's foot traffic going by, I think that's a good location to park because a thief is going to be deterred from stealing anything when people are in the nearby vicinity. Another thing to look out for when selecting a parking spot, especially if it's overnight, is to look for a well-lit area. Lighting makes it easier for passersby to see if something shady is going on. So always a good idea, park near a light. Idea number 8, this is another upgrade that you can make to your vehicle and something that will benefit your vehicle anyhow, and that is tinting the windows. Tinting the windows obviously keeps people from looking in the window and seeing your gear, but it also offers the advantage of keeping things nice and cool in the summer, and in my opinion, it makes a vehicle look a lot more sleek and stylish. Now, if you have a big system installed into a trunk vehicle, then obviously it's nice and hidden. But what if you have a hatchback or an SUV, something where all of that gear in the trunk can be easily seen through the windows? Something to consider here is a cover. A lot of car manufacturers will offer this nice little retractable cover that you can easily install. You pull the cover back and you latch it into place, thus keeping everything out of sight. And this leads into another idea: out of sight is out of mind. Obviously, you want to keep all of your car audio gear hidden in the vehicle to deter theft, but it's also a good idea to consider some of the other things that might be appealing or valuable. You don't want to leave sunglasses in your center console. You might want to avoid having a bunch of change in the cup holder. Anything that might look appealing to a would-be thief that you just leave in the vehicle might inspire them to open up that vehicle, and then they start looking around and then they end up finding your system. So those are my 10 ideas. What ideas do you guys have for preventing theft of a system? At the end of the day, it's unfortunate, but if a thief really wants your gear, they're going to get it. So I think it's also worth considering having a discussion with your insurance agent and seeing what is covered and if you can add on additional coverage to your policy. A special thanks to Crutchfield for sponsoring this video. Next time you need to know exactly what's going to fit and what will work for your aftermarket system, definitely check them out. And don't forget to use the special code for Car Audio Fabrication fans. Also, a special thanks to Bernard, William, Marcos, Michael, Steve, Emmanuel, Jerry, and the rest of the Patreon membership team. A big thanks to all those guys for making these videos possible. Thank you guys for watching. I will catch you in the next video.